let's see if there's any settings that apply to this. Alright, so is there rendering or something? If there's any foliage or grass. There's mobile, there's materials, culling, texture streaming, reflections, lighting, translucency, default settings, optimizations. Nothing. Nothing. Well then, I'm an engineer. I'm a pilot. I can fly a plane, right? Let's go. Let's go mess with stuff. Let's see, what is this landscape type? So we're looking at this grass mesh. You're about to go to sleep, Cold Zero? Alright, well, you have a good one. I, on the other hand, am not about to go to sleep. You forgot to follow earlier. Well, thank you for following, Cold Zero. Hopefully, we'll continue and actually get to something that looks pretty and all that. So, what we want to look for is basically something easy to search for. The distance where instances will complete. I think we want to look for grass mesh. So let's go find it in Visual Studio. And let's see if we can find some code in here that's actually controlling the quality settings and then do that sort of stuff. Alright, here we go. Alright, so we have landscape, grass, and landscape renderer and all that sort of stuff. So we have landscape renderer. Alright, so let's pop open the editor real quick. Does this look like our object? Grass mesh, density, grid, grass mesh, density, grid. Alright, so this is our header here for landscape grass mesh type. It's landscape classes, landscape grass type. So let's throw our grass over here and see what it is. So let's see. Let's just read through real quick. We've got cache the grass, should cache, density. We're gonna kind of scan over some of this code. We're looking for where it spawns in grass. Spawns in grass. Align to surface. Yeah, so like aligning to surface and random rotation, those booleans are going to be used wherever this thing actually. Yeah, here we go. We got this build. Scope cycle, counter, grass. Okay. If halt on base index, event is less than If extent x is less than 0, blah blah blah, max number equals square root max instances times this. Like instance index is less than maximum number, keep going is what this is doing, isn't it? Instance index plus plus. Where is, alright, so this is the instance index. Alright, so raster time, instance transforms, extent x. Okay, so maximum number is square root max instances times square root max instances. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to step into this code. So we're going to close the editor and boot it up inside of Visual Studio again. And this is something you can't do unless you actually like have the code for Unreal and you compile it from source. So regardless of whether or not Unreal has fixed bugs, I fix bugs and find problems. So that's why I'm on the team. Alright, so this is square root max instances, maximum num. What have we got for our locals? Our maximum number is 2916. Alright, so 2916. What's the square root of that? $54. Alright, so we're going to go through instance index plus Halton index. So we're going to find our location and get our weight at our location. So we're going to figure out if we're like dirt or not, right? Alright, so we're going to get our random scale, random stream, get fraction. So we've got a rotator, we're aligning to the surface. So we're grabbing the normal at the location and grabbing the Z off of it, snagging the transform. And then we're adding the instance transforms. Why did we continue? Why did we go to the top of the loop? Instance transforms, I guess, are just, maybe this whole thing is just to build instance transforms. And this instance transform, I guess, is one chunk of grass. So we're gonna make a lot of those sorts of things. So yeah, we've just got these instance transforms things. Alright, so we go down here and we're gonna get build tree any thread, 4096 of these, in place sort of instances. Alright, so we're gonna go through and so why is the square root max instances 54? Where is this thing? Where are we in code in the call stack? We are inside of async grass builder build. Let's see. Async grass builder. Alright, so max square root max and seal to int extent x grass density divided by 5 as validated as false. Wait, so we have our extent x times our grass density, which is 5, divided by 1,000 divided by 1,000. All right, now think about this for a second. The bigger our map is relative to its scale, this extent is going to be larger, but it's not. But it shouldn't be. Like, basically, it's limiting itself based on how big the terrain is, when it shouldn't be basing its square root max instances on that. It should be like, this is just silly. This square root max instances. Let's see where else it's used. Let's make sure we can just like blow this away and not ever worry about it again. Yeah, they've got some optimizations in here for the, like, they're doing this. Yeah, they're doing some weird stuff here where this max instances size is, it's not correct. It's not the actual max instances of grass as far as I can tell. Or it is. So let's see, this grass builder takes a landscape, a component, a grass variety, and these subsections. So we have our landscape, which is landscape 1, our component, which is this thing, our grass variety. Grass density is 5. Where are we? We are in update grass. What is force sync? So if we're inside the editor, we're going to do something. Otherwise, let's see. Skip, we have no data and no way to generate it. Calculate the bounds of the component. Well, let's see. We have one grass type, which is test grass. We have our landscape component. Sorry, I'm having to dig this stuff open here. So we've got these components on our grass, and we're calculating the distance to the component, and if for every grass type, if there's a grass mesh and the end cull distance is greater than 0, then must have distance, discard distance. So, wait, what? What just happened? If not use Halton, min distance, alright. Ugh. So it goes through every camera. We're going to go through. Alright, so use Halton or min distance is greater than discard. Well, our discard distance is, yeah, our min distance and all that is, we're fine there. So it's going to go through the subsections of this components box. So here it is. We got this async foliage. Async foliage tasks.number is greater than max tasks. One per frame, but we still want to touch the existing ones. Okay, so it's gonna be like right here. So async foliage tasks.num is greater than max task. Max task is 4 per frame. Now this is where the bug is. Basically, it's only going to render out 4 of these things every frame, which is going to shoot out, a whole bunch of stuff, but it's not based on the density or anything else. It's just based on the number of tasks per frame, which is garbage. Like if we have a lot of area to cover, this right here is gonna screw us up. So let's see where the max tasks are actually put. It's cvar mask async task get value on any thread. cvar grass enable get value on any thread. cvar mask max async tasks. So what we want to do is, why don't we just change this max tasks where we use it? And what we're going to do is we're just going to comment this out. We're just going to say like the number of tasks that we can throw onto the thread. Let's set that to infinity. And we're going to see if this completely blows up our universe. Now the other thing would be this force sync. If not force sync, so alright, well we're just going to go ahead and build it and see if that was the issue. Otherwise, if this does actually solve it, then what we're going to do is we're going to see if there's a way that we can call this force sync on the grass and just be like, do your stuff, like just get it to work. Because we want to call that basically on level load. Didn't do anything. So let's just keep looking. Maybe we just need to set force sync to true at the top of this frame. Why don't we do that? So we'll undo that edit and we'll go to the top here where we have B force sync. And we're just going to say B force sync equals true. Because there's a few things down at the bottom there where it's grabbing stuff off of the... It's grabbing stuff that has finished, and it's only grabbing like one of those per frame as well, even though they're already finished processing. So maybe if we just set this to true, we can do that. And really what we then need to find out is how with the landscape proxy to call force sync on it. To be like, hey, this frame, finish processing for this landscape. And then what we can do is, you know, when we load the level, just like make sure we have at least the initial grass that you can see, that we make sure that loads before you ever get close to it. And then the streaming should probably take care of everything else. There we go. Like, look at that. There we are. Was that so hard, Unreal? Was that so hard? Alright, so probably I can actually go respond to these people. Alright, let's find out how to call update grass with a force sync though, real quick. So how we're going to do that is we're going to walk up the call stack from here and see where it gets called, and then see if we can set a flag or something to get it to force itself to do what we want. And then we can post on the Unreal forums and actually tell people like, hey, the reason this is happening is because only a certain number of tasks get kicked off on the async task thread pool for the foliage, and as a result of the first frame not being this, it's going to stream it in. And then Unreal, that has sat on this thing for 2 million years. Alright, so update grass looks like never actually takes... Like this force sync thing, this is going to be in landscape grass.h. There's no landscape grass.h. Let's see if we can find where the definition for this is. Alright, so here it is. So their force sync is false, so it's in the landscape proxy. Force sync is true, block and finish all work. Well, let's find all calls to update grass in the entire code base, and let's go through them and see if any of them call it with this thing as true. So here they are. There's only one that does it, which is inside of world tile collection model. Bake grass into landscape. What? Interesting. They've got this. Looks like they hacked it in here for like the force thing. Like that's what it seems like. So what is this? This world tile collection thing. Generate LOD levels? So we want to see like this simplification details, bake grass into landscape? Alright, so bake foliage, bake grass landscape, whether to bake grass into landscape texture mesh details, whether to create separate packages for generated assets. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to save this thing like so, with no changes, and we're going to go see if we can find out this F level simplification details, if there's this bake grass into landscape stuff that we can set, and then if we can actually bake it in there. And see, this is why I like working with Unreal for stuff as opposed to like kind of a closed system like Unity. I never would have figured out how the hell this grass stuff was going to work unless I had the source code to go noodle with. So update grass is called without force sync causing streaming of grass. Set the force sync to true in order to force it to create the grass for the landscape. Alright, so we'll see where we can actually mess with level simplification details, which is inside of engine and then level simplification. As you can see, the issue is back because I removed the code that we had that fixes it. Alright, so supposedly it's in the engine F level simplification details. So is there world settings, world composition, light mass, game mode stuff, rendering, LOD. So is it inside of like maps and modes? Default server, grasslands, game instance, no. Packaging? Pack files, generate chunks, build configuration, full rebuild for distro. Alright, blueprints. See, cooking, enable cooking, compile blueprints. Well, supposedly level.h has whether the baked grass and the landscape static mesh textures. Now, where is this thing? We're using it. It's editor only data. It's inside of the U level. I mean, it's inside the LODs, so maybe there's some LOD stuff here. So LOD level 1, mesh generation, merge settings, bake, vertex baking, desired bounds, min number of actors to build, transition screen size, merge materials, material settings, specular, roughness, texture sizes don't matter. LOD, use landscape culling. No, it's not in here. Where'd the LOD stuff go? Okay. Yeah, I'm not seeing this anywhere. How to actually get this to do what we want. Alright, let's see. What is the A landscape proxy? It's just landscape proxy.h. It is an A actor. Okay, so it's an actor. So I could call this somehow if I could call this in C++, it looks like. Let's see if it's a public function. It's public. It's not blueprintable. It's not, I mean, blueprint accessible, but it is publicly accessible. So we could totally call update grass with a vector of cameras. It's a T-array of F vectors for cameras. Alright, so we can actually just say, well, the camera is at this location and force sync. Alright, so in order to actually do this, so that's what I'm going to need to do, is I'm going to need to call update grass and call force sync on it. So I'm going to need to take a quick break, and then I'll come back and we'll write the C++ code in order to actually do that. Alright, let's get back to work here. So we're not going to be able to do this inside of blueprints, which is not really a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a blueprint accessible function that's a global function, which will, you can call it, and what it's going to do, it's going to grab all the landscapes in the world and it's just going to call update grass. Or I can just call update grass on a specific landscape thing. But because we don't care, we're just going to call it on everything. And we'll solve other problems with scalability when we actually have a map that then blows out the budget for our load time or something like that, right? So we're going to go and make a new utility method. Let's put this in. Where should we put this? Object utils, or should we have like a level utils? I think we should have a level utils function. I mean, class. So let's just actually go make a new folder. So we'll do this Dashkin network utils. I'll just copy it. We'll make a level utils folder here. Dashkin level utils. We'll add that here. Oh, you didn't see I was back? Well, I'm back now, Calvin. I've been back for a while. Yeah, right now we're just solving some problems with the grass. The grass that we threw in there isn't loading properly. And we're going to fix that because we're engineers. We can do that. And then we can file a bug with Unreal, or we can fill out other people's bugs. And we can tell them why things are busted. So u Dashkin level utils. Wonder if they will address the bug. I bet they probably have a better way to address it. The main thing there is, I'll go document it a bit for them and do all that. Alright, so we're going to want, before I forget, I need to set up my headers. So it's going to be this runtime build.cs. I want to include it. Alright, so we're going to want a bool. Now let's just do a void ensure landscape grass spawned. And this will be kind of a hacky way to do it, but better than nothing, right? And we can always change this to actually just go check if the grass is finished spawning. or not. Let's actually add our files to Perforce to check out. So what we want to do is we want to get all actors in a level by type, by class, or whatever. I think we got, was it Dashkin entity utils.cpp? We've got some sort of stuff like this. Maybe it's inside of the one of these managers that I wrote. Managers for the game manager. Thank you for following Dark Whiskey. We're just looking up how to snag all the actors of a specific type in our level that we want. Where is everything? Ugh. Is it in the game mode? Get all actors of class by array. Alright, there we go. Because I already wrote all these things pretty much. So it's the Dashkin game instance, get all actors of class array, and it's T subclass of a actor. Get all actors with tag, get all actors of class. Let me see if I actually call this anywhere. Let's see, what's the casting syntax? I always forget the thing. It's just cast. All right, cool. So our F, it's T array of F vector. We're gonna do cameras, and it's just gonna be empty. And then force update to true. We need to include landscape proxy.h. What's the game instance is inside of game mode, so I need to include Dashkin game mode. All right, I think we should be able to compile that. Let's see what it does for us. Yeah, well, I'm not sure they'll address the bug. Like, I've already submitted some basic stuff. Like, one of the things is on Windows right now for Unreal, if you run Unreal on Windows and use their HTTP stuff, it doesn't verify SSL certificates, which means that all HTTP calls, if you're using Unreal, are completely insecure, which is really bad. And I told them like how to fix that. It's basically I even tracked down the commit where they broke it, and I was like, just take this commit out. This commit is this one part of it is just wrong. Don't do that. And with specifically like all you need to do is just pound if Windows don't do this. It's one line change. And that's been on their back burner for 2 Unreal versions. And it's like, just guys are insecure. Like, if you have anything in Unreal on version 4, 14, 15, or 16, like your Twitch login or some other crap like that, it's not validating the SSL cert, and you are potentially exposing your customers to letting their username and passwords out and stuff like that. Or if you're relying on that with like your server code, your servers might not be doing it properly, and when communicating with your e-commerce backend, you might be leaking all of your shit. What is the landscape proxy like? It's get static class, or is it? Is it just static class? Hello, Dark Whiskey. Is it difficult to learn Unreal? Well, it depends on what you want to learn it for. I would say Unreal 4 is a professional tool for professional developers. It's not a simple thing, so it's made for people who know what they're doing, which can be good and bad.